Hello and welcome to the Maths Departments at Long Roads. My name's Steve Waugh. I'm the course team leader for A-Level Maths and Further Maths, and I'm just going to take you through a quick overview of how we organise the course.
Steve, just check that you're not still pre-live.
No, it's definitely live now. This first slide here is a nice one just to introduce the team. So I'm one of a group of specialist full-time members of staff. So myself, Steve, we've got Wayne, we've got Adriana, we've got John, we've got Edward, we've got Chris as well. And you can see a couple of us on these photos. I've got myself on the top left-hand side and this Adriana here on the bottom right-hand side. So as it says there as well, we use the Edexcel A-level spec, and a little bit more about why we've chosen that in a moment. So this is a little slide to give you a quick overview of the course. I think perhaps the first thing we should start by saying is that we have 90-minute lessons. So we've got 3 90-minute lessons a week, 4.5 hours in total, and basically 3 key areas of maths that we've got to do, and they're all compulsory. So there's no options here at all. So we've got some pure maths, and we've got stats, and we've got mechanics. So you've got some typical areas there described. So you've got lots of algebra, proof, geometry, sequences, exponentials and logs, differentiation, integration is part of what's called calculus, and there's some vector work as well. And then we've also got what they call the applied units. So the statistics is like probability and data handling. There's some quite interesting work there, sort of statistical distributions, things like the binomial and their associated hypothesis tests. And then we've also got the normal distribution as well. And then mechanics, you can think of that as a bit more physicsy. So you've got force and motion, equilibrium, and you've got constant and variable acceleration. And then in the second year, we do stuff like projectiles, and we do the motion stuff with calculus as well, when the variation of the acceleration. And I think perhaps one important point to make there, with the A-levels all being reformed, there's lots and lots of problem solving and lots of modelling, trying to see how stuff works in the real world. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So this is all about how the exams work. So the A-level course has got 3 exams, and you've got 100 marks for each one, so 300 marks in total. So you've got paper 1 and paper 2 are both pure maths, and then the paper 3 has got 2 sections. You've got your section A, which is statistics, and you've got your section B, which is mechanics. Now the first thing to mention is people sometimes think that, well, paper 1, that's the first year pure, and paper 2, that's the second year pure, but that's not the way it works. So both papers have any questions from anything from the whole 2-year course. And that's also true for the paper 3 as well. So we teach them statistics in year 1 and in year 2, and we also teach the mechanics in year 1 and in year 2. And the exam paper can then ask any question from anything on the whole course. And it's really clever sometimes the way they mix up the different parts of the work. You also sometimes get bits of pure maths in the applied exams, and sometimes even bits of stats and mechanics in the pure as well. So it's some nice interesting combinations. So why have we chosen to use the Edexcel course? Well, when we went through the reform process, we looked at all the different options, and we felt that the Edexcel course was going to suit our students the best. And that's because they keep the pure and the applied in completely separate exams. So all the other exam boards, for example, would have a paper with pure in part A and mechanics in part B. And then another paper would have pure and then stats in part B. So you've got to learn a lot more for each exam. So organised this way, students can just concentrate on the pure maths for the first 2 papers, and then the applied separately for paper 3, and that just makes things a little bit easier. The other thing perhaps to mention here is you can use a calculator for all these exams. Okay. So if we move on to the next slide, students would do mathematics normally as part of 3 courses. If you're a further mathematician, which we'll talk about in the next presentation, that's you do maths and further maths as 4 subjects. But for most students, they're doing 3. and that might be 3 A-levels, or it might be a combination of some A-levels and some applied diploma courses. So you might be doing maths as one A-level, or one of 2 A-levels with either 1 or 2 diploma courses as well. Okay. So perhaps the other thing to mention here is that maths is one of those subjects that just works with every possible combination that you can think of. So you don't have to be doing maths and science. You can be doing maths and humanities and art and textiles. Really, any course combination you can possibly imagine works with maths, because it just opens door to everything. So it's just a great subject to do. Lots of trips and activities normally going on. It's been a bit restrictive recently with the COVID, but you can see this photograph on the right. So that's when Wayne and I went down to Royal Holloway College in London, and that was a day out when they had an opportunity to experience what maths was like at university. That hasn't run this year, but that's the sort of thing that we like to do. We also do what they call the Senior Maths and Senior Maths Challenge, which has just been done recently, and they've just had their results today, and there's some students who are extremely happy because they've done really well. And we also would often do the Senior Maths Team Challenge, which we've had to cancel this year because of the COVID. Recently we've also had what they call the Maths Inspiration Talks. So those would usually take place at the university here, but they've been online. There was one last week on stats, and there's one this week on mechanics, and there's some other ones coming up soon as well. We've also got things like the Problem Solving Day, the Advanced Maths Support Programme. I've mentioned the London trip, and we've also got an institutional membership of CSAR, which is the Cambridge Society for the Application of Research. So students can go on to various online lecture talks. The other thing that we should mention here is we've got lots of support. Maths is a very hard subject, and it's really important that we build confidence of students. So we have workshop support where we do drop in. So students can book a slot, and they can either do that at home, and then we'll do a Teams call, just like we're doing now, or we can also get students to come in and actually have a member of staff to work with them in college. We also have some support at 3 levels. So we support students who are aiming for A's and A-star grades. We support students who are working towards the BC level. And we also support students who just need to consolidate the basic skills to actually make sure that they pass the course. So the idea is that students might start at the first level of support and then go through the levels depending on the progress and the target grade. So that's a really important part of the work that we do here. Okay, so the next slide is about who maths is for. So math is a very popular A-level subject, even though it's hard. Okay, and so there's lots of good reasons to study maths, because it opens doors and it's useful if you're doing things like maths and science. But it's the skills, it's the logical thinking, the ability to think systematically through a problem. That's just something that can be really helpful for anything. It doesn't have to just be science. And we'll hear from Lucy soon, one of our students who's doing textiles, and that's one thing that she'll really emphasise, that it helps you moving forward to the future, build your confidence. And that's one of the reasons why we've got so much support as well, because a lot of our students do find maths hard, but they're prepared to work hard and put in the effort, and they can be successful. And that builds your confidence and your knowledge and your skills for the future. Down the bottom there, I've listed some of the places that students go to once they leave Long Road. So got a whole range there. So thinking from last year, we had students going off to do maths at Sheffield, computer science at York, biochemistry at Nottingham, electrical engineering at Loughborough, physics and astronomy at Sussex as well. So we cater for students going to the top Russell Group universities. And we also cater for students who are perhaps going off to do apprenticeships in accountancy, for example, as well. So it's for everyone, maths. I've got some profiles here for some of our students. So Lucy will be speaking to us in a moment. She's aiming for A grades in all her A levels, and she's looking at doing textiles at university and then perhaps going on to do some primary school teaching. I think that's a really lovely quote from her, talking about how maths is going to help her in the future. We've also got Shi Long, he's one of our students, and he's looking for a B grade in his maths so he can go and do some civil engineering. And again, he's got a nice quote there which emphasises the aspect of the course that's now really important, which is to use your skills to do modelling in the real world. It's not just about solving algebra equations for the sake of it. It's seeing how trigonometry and all sorts of other parts of the course can actually be used in a real world context, and that's really important. We've also got Sophie over here who wants to do a biology degree, and she's aiming for a high grade as well. So it's really important that we support students to get those highest grades, as well as supporting the students who have got more modest aspirations, so everyone can be successful. I'm going to leave this slide on the screen at the end of the presentation, because that's got the deadlines for applications. So that's the 12th of January. So we'll put that up again at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that now. I'm just going to stop sharing, and we'll talk to some students. So I just need to click a few buttons here. Where's my mouse gone? There it is. So we're going to talk to Lucy first. Come on. Actually, let's try it like this. There's Lucy. Hi, Lucy. Sorry, he's having a bit of a glitch there, just trying to get this thing to work. So, Lucy, would you like to introduce yourself for us, which school you went to and which year you're in and which subjects you're studying?
Yeah, sure. I'm Lucy. I went to Samuel Whitbread Academy, which is in Bedfordshire. I'm year 2 and I'm studying textiles, Spanish and maths. Okay.
And why did you choose to come to Longroad, and why did you want to study maths specifically?
Well, initially I chose to go to Longroad because I wanted to sort of go out of my comfort zone and go somewhere that was a little different from my secondary school. And sorry, I really like the enthusiasm that the department had, particularly the maths department, and all the students had really positive things to say about the course. So I was quite excited to start out with that.
All right, thanks very much, then. I'm going to come back to ask you a few more questions in a moment, but I'm going to go over to Henry now. Thank you. So, Henry, let's see if we can get Henry up and send Henry over to live as well. Right, hi Henry, would you like to introduce yourself and say which school you went to, which year you're in, and what subjects you're studying?
I'm Henry. I went to Cottenham Village College and I'm in my second year at Longroad. I study maths, further maths, physics and biology.
Okay, and why did you choose to come and study at Longroad, and why maths and further maths specifically?
I had some older friends that went to Longroad and who studied maths and said that you get the best support to help you get the best possible grade, so that's what I've done.
Okay, and we'll talk to you a little bit more in a moment when we do the further maths as well. Okay, thank you. Right, we're going to go back to Lucy now. Just takes a moment to get everything to work through. Okay, so Lucy, just tell us a little bit about the thing you most enjoyed about the maths course and why.
I really like how varied and challenging the content is of the course. I'm one of those people that gets a satisfaction of getting a really difficult question right, and I feel like the support we get at Longroad, it kind of enables us to find the content a lot more easier than we would have done if we were on our own or a different course.
Right. Okay. And tell me a little bit about the independent work that you have to do outside of class and how that's been helping.
Well, we have a work log where we basically have to finish questions related to the content that we're doing in class, and we're advised to keep this all in a folder and keep it organised, and it's checked termly. So because obviously there's quite a high expectation for A levels, and I feel like we're really pushed to sort of meet those expectations and continually keep on top of our work.
Right. So what sort of homework do you get and how's that organised?
Well, with the homework sheets, we'll be assigned a set of questions, and with those questions, we'll complete them on note paper, and then using Office Lens, we'll upload them onto Moodle, and then we'll get personal feedback on our questions that we can mark at home. So even though it's all online, it's still working the same as it would if we were in college.
Right, okay. Thanks for that. And just would like to tell us a little bit about the plans you've got for the future once
Yeah,
you
sure.
leave college.
So I think I'm going to go to university and study textiles, and then do some like sort of industry work from there, and maybe go on to teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you think maths might help with that then?
Well, obviously, it's not directly related to maths, but I feel like the course itself, it can be really relevant for sort of boosting problem solving skills and sort of negotiation skills and that sort of thing. So it's a very transferable subject.
Right, it's just one of those things that opens doors, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Thanks very much, Lucy. So I'm going to ask Henry to answer a few questions as well now. Thanks very much. So I just need to swap over again and send that live. Okay, Henry, what's your favourite thing about studying maths then? Let's focus on the maths for now.
I particularly like the problem solving aspects of maths, and I love working through problems and puzzles, but I also really enjoyed the challenge and sort of sense of accomplishment once you really understand the topic.
Right, okay. You did really well on the senior maths challenge recently, didn't you? And that's a classic example of problem solving.
Yeah, I really enjoy those types of problems.
Yeah, what's the difference between the maths challenge and the sort of the normal A level?
Maths challenge is definitely more, you have to think really strong about how to get your head around the problem, whereas maths is more learn stuff.
Yeah, and just learn stuff and apply it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's much more creative, isn't it? Yeah, you can really shine because Henry's got he's got a gold certificate in his maths challenge, and he's going on to the next round. So he's done really well. So how difficult would you say the maths course was compared to your other subjects, Henry?
Maths is definitely a hard challenge, but it's really worth it when you get your head around the topic.
Right, and do you have to do about the same amount of work in your maths as your other subjects, or does it require more work, would you say?
I'd say similar work.
Similar work, okay. And would you tell us a little bit about the support that we offer and how that's organised?
All of that work handing in is online now, so the teachers will mark and give feedback on all your work, which I find really useful.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling with the topic, there's workshops that go on frequently, and they'll help you understand whatever.
Right, and the support workshop, it's for people at all levels, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for people who are aiming for A-star grades and for C grades, and making sure those D and E grades are consolidated as well.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks very much then. So what I'd like to do now is give people a chance to ask some chat questions. We've got three colleagues here, Chris, John, and Moji, who are all available to take questions. So what I'm going to do is just put the information up about the deadlines. There we go. So just make sure that's enlarged so it fills the screen. Sorry, it's a bit awkward using these screens. And we'll send that across. So that's information about the deadlines for the course. So if you've got any questions, please fire away in the chat, and the colleagues will be there to answer them for you. So it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I hope that's been of use. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and bye.